Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for episode 11 of Survivor 43. My name is Mike Bloom. We're at the final 7 in episode 11, but nobody went to heaven. At least they didn't drown in this intense immunity challenge that had our castaways outlasting the tide. And much like the tide, which I was thinking about today, we ebb and flow into your eardrums every week here on the B&B as we're bringing you yet another installment of our podcast. First, let me welcome in the co-host of the B&B, of course, Liana Boraas. Liana, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I think we can all win immunity today. Let's go for it. I think we all conquered the ocean. You know what I'm saying?
This is the future liberals want, is everyone wins immunity. It's all handouts. Nobody
Exactly.
works for anything.
AOC wanted this.
Yeah. Well, I am very excited to welcome this person back to the B&B because she is the co-host of many podcasts, including the Wrestling RHAP Up, and perhaps we have witnessed Carla do a bit of a heel turn on her former tag team partner in
Well,
this episode. It is the great Mari Forth. Mari, how are you?
hey, I'm good. This is so weird because the last time I was talking about Survivor, it was this exact same challenge. I'm like, and of course, this is the one challenge I would never do in my entire life as somebody who is like definitely claustrophobic. Like, this is just my nightmare. But here I am. I'm glad to talk to you guys, though.
Well, hopefully we won't make you feel claustrophobic. You have
Yes,
all the room you want to
yes, all of
pontificate
it, a
about
whole room.
whatever weirdo stuff pops in your head. We're down.
Well, take up space, Mari. Let me offer it to you first off. We are
Mhm.
rounding the bend on Survivor 43. We only have one regular episode left before the jam-packed finale.
Yeah.
What have been your thoughts so far about everything with the season?
So, overall, I think the season's been okay. Like, I know that there's been a lot of criticism about the season just not being as good as the last two, and I agree with that. Like, I something about like 41 and 42 felt so different, so new, so fresh. Like, but now I think now we're at 43, that shine is finally starting to wear off, and of course, all the women going home doesn't help. The cast of characters, I don't feel like I have as many rooting interests as I did maybe in the last two seasons. So I feel like I have like less people are like really like I'm really behind. But other than that, it just feels like we've kind of settled in. It feels like we settled into a groove. We're back to the Survivor. It's like the old new Survivor. Like, it feels so like familiar, even though they're still trying to bring in these new tropes, and it's kind of like it's gotten old now. I don't know. I haven't disliked it. I've been still watching every week. I binge weeks I can't watch. So it's meh. It's like it's real mid. Right now.
Liana, high tide, low tide, how are you feeling about this episode? Mad tide?
I, you know, I, like, okay, so this is what's tough about being in a space where you are constantly talking to people about the show and you're constantly
Mhm.
hearing other people's perspectives about the show, is you don't really stop and think, like, what do I think? I mean,
Right.
which is so weird because we talk about it every day, like,
All the
or
time.
not every day, but like every week. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
but so my the woman who I work with, she's a grad student and she has started watching Survivor. She got really into it during quarantine, and
Ooh.
she's now catching up with the season, and she's now starting to watch it like regularly. So, and she's like, it's so nice to see her perspective on everything because I think it like
Mm.
sort of regrounds me and like, yeah, why am I complaining about the season? I have people I'm
Mhm.
invested in. There's people I'm interested in. There's characters that I think are interesting to watch on television. Jeff is being absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I'm here for it. Like the whole discussion about like, oh, is Survivor as tough as it once was? I don't know, but
Mm.
I'm interested by it. Like
Mhm.
I'm intrigued by everything. And so I think because of that, I'm having a really good time. And I know that there were definitely parts of the season that I think were a little bit of a struggle for me personally, but I think going into the end game, like I'm so curious to see how this plays out.
Mm.
Yeah, of course, it sucks that all the women are going out. Like as someone who typically drafts only women in her drafts. Like this would have been very tough for
And
me.
what did you do this time, Liana?
See, I knew. I was like, this is a hot mess dude season. I knew it.
Oh,
But
HMD.
anyway, exactly.
Hold my
like Gabler's still in the game. I don't know how, but here we are. I mean, but the thing is like, okay, this episode specifically, the editing with the advantage, like very interesting, very curious, like see people going like, oh my God, it was so exciting. The challenge, very exciting to see people go underwater during those swells. Mari, I'm similar to you in terms of like the claustrophobia messes with me, but the underwater for an unknown period of time, that is what, like, I could never do that. And I'm so impressed with what Carla and Owen did. Like, I don't care if they were only there for, they were only there for 3 hours or like whatever. I don't know. I'm impressed. I'm having fun. And I can't believe that we only have essentially 2 episodes or 2 weeks left of the show before we ultimately get a winner here. So I'm along for the ride. I'm having fun. And I'm very curious to see how it all ends.
Yeah, to your point, I think this season has been gaining momentum. I think it has really been on a tear. I will say for me, this episode was a smidge of a step down from the previous 2 episodes where I think there was a lot of good stuff, but for me, it was a bit like the sum of its parts was greater than the whole, where it's like, I liked the getting back to camp where Sammy said, Carla, I didn't vote for you.
Oh my God.
JK, I did vote for you. Sorry. I like the advantage where, initially you're like, why are we dedicating an entire segment to an advantage? But like, if it's a story that's fun and well told and everyone's screaming at the screen, like you walked by this thing, what the hell are you doing? Then I'm enjoying it. I like the challenge. I thought like the boot made sense. And I think it also helped that, it wasn't an incredibly complicated vote. It ended up being a unanimous vote, partially because of what Sammy did at Tribal Council, that they had more room to do these other things. I think it was a little segmented, quite literally, from that regard, where it didn't feel as much of a through line.
Yeah.
And I do feel like what is fortunate about Sammy unfortunately going is that I do think one of the weaker parts of the season in terms of storytelling is the relationships, is who is close with who. Luckily, it seems like what we're approaching this next episode with were 3 pairs. Jesse and Cody, Carla and Cassidy, Owen and Gabler. Now, that is far from simple because Cassidy and Carla obviously nearly had their own little moment this episode. That will definitely come out next episode. Owen and Gabler, like, Owen's, I think, just there being like, he's the kid, right, who they said everyone pick a partner in science class, and Owen's like, I guess I get him, sure. So I think there still is a lot of room to maneuver there, but I am sort of happy that like Sammy, who was a central figure in a lot of relationships, was taken out because I feel like that does remove some of the more enigmatic elements, right? Of like, okay, who do people really trust?
Yeah. My biggest thing, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like there's a level of fear in here. Like for some reason, this season doesn't feel like they're saying, oh, this was a big move. Taking out Noelle was a big move. Taking out James and Ryan was a big move. Those don't feel like big moves to me, though. Like, I don't know if it's because I think the 2 people who are making the most moves are Cody and Jesse, and they're still there. So taking out all these other people doesn't feel as big because those other people aren't driving the game to me, or at least you haven't told me that they were. James going out might have been the closest we had to that, but I still felt like they didn't really hammer home his position first before he went out. I think they tried to do it in that episode, so it didn't really stick for me because I still didn't realize. It still took me a minute to realize, like, oh, all of Coco's there. People are still trying to work with him, all of that. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel as jaw-dropping as the last 2 seasons, because it felt like last 2 seasons, one person would make a big move, take that person out. The next person who made that move, you take that person out. It felt like it was compounding on each other. That doesn't feel like that this season. And then having all of these advantages out there and nobody playing them, nobody trying to really flush them. It's like, are we headed to another advantage again, in which it's not going to be surprising because they know that like there's 3 idols out there that nobody's trying to flush. I think I'm now over this like communal knowledge idol thing, like
The public knowledge idol, yeah.
Yes, knowing that there's 3 idols, that 3 tribals that were gotten the same way, so now everybody knows that they're like who has them. It basically kind of nullifies them in a sense, like
No, that's a
people know where
definite
they
advantage.
are, right? People know where they are, so they're kind of like, oh, we'll leave that person in. Like, I don't know. It's just like we haven't seen any idol play. I don't know. It's boring. It's not, I don't know. It's not as it doesn't feel as anything can happen as it once did. And maybe it's like too many advantages led to no advantages being played, like knowledge is power, like get it out of here. Like I never want to see that again. We have not seen it work.
Yeah.
When you
It's
heard,
a curse.
okay, there's an advantage hidden in the jungle, go, what percentage of your
Yeah.
mind was thinking, is it knowledge is power for the third time this season?
Yeah, like 99.9%. I was like, they want it to work so bad, they're gonna force it into happening. Like, this will work, I promise.
Exactly. It's just not, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't feel as flashy as it used to.
Okay, so I have a few thoughts, Mari, because one, I actually totally echo what you're saying in terms of it doesn't actually feel like it's a big move, even though I'm being told it's a big move. I actually
Right.
kind of got the same feeling as Winners at War. Do you remember the first time they were going to Tribal and they were all just like, just not me. I don't know. I don't care. Just not me. And I kind of get that a little bit of that feeling with this season where sometimes it just feels like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I'm fine. Whatever. You want to vote them? Fine. Like Carla's like, fine. Cassidy, fine. Like whatever, fine. Sammy, fine. I'll do whatever, it is in order to protect myself. I don't think that inherently makes for a bad season, but I do agree with you that it doesn't feel like you have people actively trying to make moves within the season. That being said, they just saw it fail for a bunch of people, right? Like you see Shan try to make these big moves and it fails. So of course you're going to be like, okay, so not that then. Okay, so I won't do that, I'm going to be the Erica. I'm going to play low. I'm going to, try to do that. So I think because it's a little bit cyclical in terms of what you see and then what you go play, especially with so many people being fans, I think that ultimately impacts ultimate gameplay.
I definitely think there's a regression to the mean in a manner of speaking, right? Where, the 41 and 42 motto was, as Gabler spoke about a couple episodes ago, like, you step out of line, you stick your neck out. People are like, oh, that neck's good for chopping. Let's chop it off before you can get close to the final three. And so it's not ideal. What are the prevailing strategies? Stay low, maybe make like one or two moves to claim that are your own, and then be able to slip through to the end, and then you'll be able to state your case. And that's the thing that some people were trying to do. And then look at Noelle as an example, right? Someone that was going with the flow decides, no, I'm going to do this thing. And then what happens? They're like, oh, great, she's too powerful. Time to get rid of her. So I think it does make sense that we are swaying a bit towards maybe a bit more of like a conservative gameplay. But at the same time, then you look at like what Jesse's doing, and I wouldn't call what he's doing conservative. He nearly just did like a 5-2 vote, forcibly leaving Carla out of the loop, voting against her closest ally to turn the two of them against each other. Like, that is some really incredible stuff that I think, for whatever reason, be it maybe to your point, like the prevailing motto of the rest of the cast, or just like the fact that Jesse seems like such a nice guy, we're not really seeing the teeth, in the smile, in a manner of speaking, but he has them bared.
To me, it's almost like Jesse and Cody are giving me Cody and Derek vibes. It's like they're just running the ship, and it's like, as cool as it is to see them like run the ship and for all of their plans to work out, it's still kind of like, okay, well, all of their plans are working out. Nobody is really trying to move against them. We're at the final 6 and people are still not even talking about taking either one of them out, which is nuts to me. At least we're not seeing it. I mean, we did see it with Gabler. Okay, we did see it with Gabler last week. So but it's just kind of like that, it's like, okay, they're rightfully steering the ship. It's very like Dom and Wendell-esque, like, and maybe it's because I was just rooting for Dom and Wendell a little bit harder than I am for like Cody. But that's what it's giving me. So that's what I guess that's what I'm kind of missing, is like some sort of like force to kind of, it doesn't feel like a voting block situation. It feels like a scrambling, like Liana said, anybody but me type of situation, which doesn't feel as strategic. So the people who are in strategic control keep getting their way because others are just trying not to get hit with the bullet.
I mean, I think it certainly was not helped by the situation of this episode, right?
Yeah.
And I know there certainly has been talk of like, hey, there are 4 people that are vulnerable, and Jesse's one of them. Why don't you go for it? Sammy talked about this in my exit interview with him, that apparently he was like super tight with Cody and feared that like he knew that Cody was safe, so he obviously couldn't go for Cody. But if he targeted Jesse, he knew that obviously Cody wouldn't want to do that. And the fact that Jesse is also a bit well fortified in terms of allies, like, it was also an odd smattering of things as well, right? When you have half the tribe immune at the final 7 as to all the events that kind of overlay too. I mean, if Cody and Jesse were both less vulnerable, we saw Gabler kind of set it up. Who knows what could have happened? But I think due to the fact that only 4 people were essentially up on the chopping block, I think it did cause that anybody but me to come forward very prominently. It was almost like that Murgatory situation that we have seen now 3 times. It's essentially like a, hey, somebody throw out her name and I'll just jump onto it because I don't want it to be me. We kind of saw that happen again just due to 3 out of 7 people being safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like so many things that are popping into my head right now. So the
Please.
first thing I'm gonna pick is I guess I'll pick the editing of the advantage, right? Because so we saw him pick Owen, right? So we
Yes.
know Cody's safe. But what we didn't hear at all was any like discussion of like, okay, so Cody's safe. Or like we know or we think Cody's safe, so we're gonna like completely rule him out. Like it didn't really like this show kept trying to be like, oh, but is he safe? You know, but is he safe? So like, should we have known that he didn't, or should we have not known that he, his guess for the person, or should the show have just been like, whatever, write it off? Like the excitement is whether or not he gets it at the immunity challenge, and then fine, we know it's Owen, we know he's safe, we just write it off and then we move on. Like I don't know, I feel like there's so many choices of like, how do you edit that whole scenario?
Right.
I don't think we should have known personally. How many
Okay.
times have
Right.
we talked about how much we like not knowing whether or not
The
somebody has an
genius.
idol going into tribal
Yeah.
council, right? Like
Yeah.
the flashbacks. We
Yeah.
like that. And I think it would have been interesting. And I think you could have then incorporated Cody more into the voting stuff because he kind of faded into the background after that. I think it could have been fun to have him in there be like, oh, well, I might not be safe tonight. But I think it in this way, it did not help to have this information, right? Because as soon as Owen won, I also don't disparage anyone for having the assumption on the island that Cody would be safe, because considering that now he had essentially like twice as many chances, right, to win, considering that now 2 necklaces are being given out impromptu, like it's a good assumption to make that he's probably safe.
Yeah, and I think that's what they originally wanted to do. I think they originally wanted it to be like oh, it's hidden until you find out at the tribal council. But the fact that Cody's name didn't even come up, I guess they just will like, well, let's put the tension at the challenge now then, because if his name isn't even going to come up for a vote, then it doesn't matter if it's tension at tribal council.
Your puppy wants out so bad.
Yeah, the puppy's like, get me out of this.
Let me out. I don't care about Survivor. Okay, so then my second question is all about the whole Gabler stuff. So, okay, this is like a little bit of a step away. But so one, the conversation that Gabler had last week with Carla, right? Where it's like, we got to take care of Jesse and Cody. Nothing seems to show up in this episode at all, as far as I'm concerned. Then there's the other conversation that Gabler has with Owen in this episode. I have a way for us to get to the final 3.
I've got a plan.
Yeah, don't worry. What does that mean?
What is the plan?
Yeah, I feel like there's all these little Gabler nuggets that are existing out in the Survivor universe, and I want to nibble on them. I want to know what they taste like.
Don't nibble on a Gabler nugget. You're not gonna like what meat is inside there.
Okay, I trust you. But anyway, I want it to pay off. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know why, I don't know how, but like I need that to happen, because I feel like that's another thing. Okay, again, as much as I personally am enjoying the season, of course, I can still be critical of the things that like I feel like are failing. So one, the relationships, of course, that's not working. But then there's also these other little things that I'm like, I need the payoff. Is this going to happen in a couple episodes? Which again, it's the finale, so maybe it will. But like, I would have hoped that the Jesse Cody thing would have happened in this episode, and obviously that was like completely negated based on the fact that Cody was essentially safe, and I guess Jesse is just socially amazing, so he's off the table.
I think it will happen, and my faith goes back to Survivor 41, where I know at the time, right, there was a lot of comments on Island about like, oh, a woman always loses to a man, let's change that. And a lot of us were like, you got us in Survivor 39, we're not doing this again. But I think, suffice it to say, in many ways they learned their lesson from that season, and I think have been a bit better in like not purposely misleading the audience from that perspective. So I'd like to imagine, whether it be successful or not, I do think part of Gabler's quote-unquote plan, especially considering he says, hey, my plan is to go to the final 3 with Owen. The math ain't mathin'. He can't take Jesse and Cody and Owen to the final 3. Like, one of them at least has to go. So I think he's going to at least try for it. Again, maybe it would have happened this episode were it not that Cody was safe and Jesse is sort of like, I mean, the other thing about being safe is that they know, everyone pretty much, right, that Cody has an idol. They don't maybe not know that it's on Jesse, but they assume, okay, then Cody can just play his idol on Jesse. So Jesse is also implicitly safe in that regard. So it could have just been a not today Satan type of thing.
Is next week the last week they can use the idols? Is it final 6 or final 5?
Final 5.
Oh, geez.
Jesse, theoretically, if he holds on to both those idols, he could be safe until the final 4.
Yes, because he would use, like, if he used one this week or next week, right? Final 6, then would use one in final 5. Yeah, he hasn't given it back, right? Or at least we haven't seen that he's given it back.
Right.
So yeah, this is a question I think on the Shane and Gus feedback show, right? That like Jesse claimed to Noelle, oh, I was just talking to Cody to give his idol back. We don't know. I think it's been a few episodes since we've seen his lower third saying to idols. So I think it's really up in the air. Like you said, knowing the storytelling for this season, it might be, oh yeah, when I gave Cody his idol back like 3 days ago, and then we get a flashback to it. So maybe it's happening. We're just not aware of it.
And it's like, and I also gave him my idol. Like, who knows?
That idol, having 3 idols in play at the final 5 is just ridiculous to me. I'm sorry, that is ridiculous. I could have sworn it used to be final 6, right? I thought
it was final 6 up to a certain, I want to say up until like maybe Nicaragua, because I recall I think Sash and Chase playing their idols at the same time in the final 6. I think from Redemption Island on, it's always been final 5.
Oh my gosh, that's just too much for me, because now, so next week you're at the final 6, 3 people have idols, and you got to get one of them out of there. You got to flush one of them, but then, I don't know.
I mean, the biggest criticism from my perspective is that the extension to Final 5 plus the Final 4 fire making, that's the biggest issue. If you're trying to make the argument of like, oh, it's got to be a social game. We got to be able to, I mean, obviously there's still individual immunity that you could win at the Final 5.
Or maybe an additional one, depending on how the challenge goes.
Yeah, and if you get, exactly. And if you look at the tree, then yeah. So, I think that's like kind of where the criticism comes in, is that you could have someone just like sort of force their way to the end. But
it's also tough because this is the first time in the new era where like all 3 idols have made it to this point of the end game, right? Back in Survivor 41, Shan, Nasir got voted out with idols in their pocket. Xander's the only one to make the finale with his idol. In Survivor 42, we did have both Marianne and Mike with idols in the end, but those end up not necessarily getting used. This is the first time in the new era we have 3 idols going into the final 6. And who knows? To your point, Mari, this new era, though, is not necessarily about making moves with these because they are so prevalent. And so maybe none of them will end up getting played.
Jeez Louise. I don't know. That's
yeah.
Can we talk?
I know. I am liking the season. I don't want to seem like I'm not liking the season. I just think that having 41 and 42 back to back be so, just first off 41 just being so different that we had to be like, wait, whoa, hold up. It took us a minute to acclimate. Then 42, knowing what we're getting into, getting that great cast so that we can enjoy what we know is coming. So now it's at 43, and it's just like the twists and the twists, the staging, the show setup is the same. The cast to me isn't as dynamic as the first 2. So that's when you put the 3 of them in comparison, that's where 43 falls flat when you look at it like that for me. So, but other than that, it's literally not the worst season. Like Thailand is still right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Iowa is still right there. So like
when Thailand exists.
Who is hitting for you? I know you said that you feel like this cast is a bit of a rung below, perhaps a tide setting below the other 2 casts. But is there anyone that's hitting for you in particular out of this final 7, or maybe people who came before them?
Oh, Queen Carla. It's all day. Come on now. Come on. Like I'm watching for her. I don't know. I don't know how far she's gonna get because she's in everybody's sights, but she's who I'm rooting for. I actually really like Jesse. I really love Jesse's maneuverings because, like Liana said, he still feels like such a good guy. Like it feels like he's doing the things that like some of the Survivor greats do, but without like a malicious intent and without feeling like he's forcing his way into doing it. He's just so nice. So I like him too. Um, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. I would add Owen to the list, but that's
Yes,
also
Owen.
personal bias.
Owen, yes, I forgot.
Owen was about to angrily
Poor
throw down
Owen.
his water
Poor
bottle in
Owen.
response to not being on the list.
I'm
No,
like
I do. I am
living for
a
Owen.
huge Owen fan. I actually am. I just feel so sad for him, like just
I know.
constantly
Being on the outs, especially because I think, he's also like knowing what a big fan he is and like putting
Yes.
myself in his shoes. And like, I
Mhm.
can't imagine being in that situation and being like, WTF, y'all. Like,
I
please,
know.
Yeah.
just like, I want to
No.
play.
Well, the thing is, like, it sucks for him, but God, the way that he expresses his frustration is so effing funny.
It's
Like,
so
that's
good.
he does feel like the type of person, right, that like uses humor to mask feelings sometimes. And so, like, him sitting there, to your point, like he could be like we saw with Janine when Ellie got voted out, like weeping in his confessional, being like, "I can't do this. These people just keep tricking me." But he is just like almost flabbergasted at this
Yeah.
point, being like, "What? How does this keep happening? Is it me? Is it them? Did I not align the stars correctly? Has Mercury been in retrograde for the
Yeah.
past 26 days?"
Right.
Honestly, because with Owen, I will have to go back and watch the season to figure out how he got. I do not know how he got into this position. I don't understand why nobody wants to work with him. I don't understand why they're strategically like leaving him out, and like I don't get it. I truly don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I also don't understand. The other thing that I was thinking was about Jesse because I think he's so cold-blooded. Like
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
when you think about what he's doing, it's so cold-blooded of like pitting people that are so close against each other of like, oh my God, that's so like devious, but
I
he's
love
doing it in
it.
a way you're just like, yeah, oh, that's so cute. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like it's so nice.
Well, because it's
Yeah.
the way that he talks about it is almost like the energy. It's the dad energy, right? Of like, all right, kids, we're going to Legoland. Okay, Carla, I'm gonna make you vote for Cassidy, but then leave you in the dark so you both come back to camp steamed at each other.
Yeah,
Like, it has,
yay!
yeah, it has such like that positive energy to it almost that you sort of
Mhm.
forget that underneath the veneers is like the
Yeah.
sadisticness that I think is just so much fun. I want to talk about the challenge for a second as well, because I feel like this is the take that I think has lit up Survivor internet discourse this past time, right? Specifically,
Mm.
the calling of the challenge. The
Oh.
okay, well, the tide went down too much. A lot of people use this as an excuse, right? To be like, they didn't have it in the good days. Tom and Ian stood on a buoy for 12 hours. They need nerve damage in their feet. Liana, to the point you're making before, I'm going to assume that this is filed away for you in the category of like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Get over it, y'all. Like this is something that happens in like I see it in like the medical community, I see it in the PhD like community, the academic community of like you guys had to work 12-hour shifts or I had to work 12-hour shifts so you have to work 12-hour
Mhm.
shifts. And it's like just cuz you put other people through hell making poor decisions and like fucking up doesn't mean that like everybody else should. And I kind of feel that way about the season of Survivor even though it's like obviously who cares, whatever, it's a TV show. But like at the same time, it's like, guys, it's okay. Okay. Yes, you suffered and it sucked and there was nerve damage. Okay. And it was terrible. And that's
Yikes.
fine. Okay. But modern day Survivor doesn't have to have that. And if that is the piece that is most integral to the show, go watch Alone. Go
Yeah.
watch another
Yes.
show that puts people through that type of, physical and psychological torture. Fine. Survivor to me is about so many other things that it doesn't hinge on this type of like, okay, well, then you have to stay in the water until the tide comes back when the
Yep,
moon
yeah, give it
cycles
another
back
12
around.
hours.
Yeah, you're staying in there.
This is
Hey,
the
it's
only season that
fine,
goes
guys.
27 days. We had to add an extra half day in there because we had to have
Yeah.
Carla and Owen stay in the water for another half day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that has never been a big part of the show for me. And so it doesn't, I don't care. Like, and that's fine if that's something that is really important to you. But I would say that, look, there are other elements, there are other shows, and there's so many other elements of Survivor that are so much more important. And I would really appreciate if you could look at, but the back in my day kind of thing like doesn't really go away.
Same. If you want to see like real like survival and stuff like that, you can watch Alone. You can watch Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
And go listen to me and Rob talk about it. Our special episode. But like also that is a hard challenge. Like normally that challenge does not last that long. So them being in there for like 2.5 hours, like outlasting the tide, give them the necklace, y'all. Like give them the necklace, because I'm sure the people who are sitting there saying that, there were challenges that would last 12 hours. I'm pretty sure you could not last 12 hours. I can't last 12 hours on a challenge standing on a buoy. And I know I can't last 2.5 hours under a grate. 10 seconds max. So I just honestly don't understand like the uproar. Like these are real people. This is still a show. They don't want to put people in danger. And at the end of the day, they outlasted the challenge. They outlasted the tides. Like just give it to them. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everything is okay.
and I do see some people's point. I think Rob's fact checker was the one that kind of put out the tweet that caught fire conveniently enough in a water-based challenge that and they sort of came back though saying like, listen, I don't mean to like do the back in my day thing. I just more so mean that like, that was truly an epic battle between Tom and Ian. I would say to a certain extent it was an epic battle between Carla and Owen. I just think it was a bit more truncated, right? But I was certainly impressed with the efforts that they put forth, because that challenge seems like a nightmare. Ever since it debuted, I've called it the drowning people challenge.
Yeah, the waterboarding challenge.
That's what you're doing. Yeah. You're drowning. You're drowning basically for most of it. So like, I give them kudos for doing it. I think where it really unfortunately stacked up, and this was again something that the producers got dealt a shitty hand with, was this choose your champion advantage happening during this. Because I think it's sort of compounded with, because of a result of this, now 3 people are safe. I think people, and I can understand the argument too of like, okay, then maybe do a runoff, do some sort of like, I don't know, maybe like a swimming race or some sort of other like tiebreaker competition between Carla and Owen, because when it's 2 people are safe and therefore Cody's safe, that really limits the pool, for lack of a better term, of people. So I think actually, and I will also say, speaking of the choose your champion advantage, I really enjoyed it. I think I actually liked it more in the aforementioned IOI, where Lauren got the tip off of like, basically not only pick your champion, but then also convince everybody out to sit out the challenge. I think was a really fun little task that she ended up doing. But I really like the idea. Like, I feel like it's harmless enough. I think it plays into the aspect of like, not even social game, but knowing your tribe members, which I think is like sometimes similar and different. I think put it earlier in the game is what I would say. Keep it, but put it at like final, even at the final 8, right? Like not if they have to stick to this, okay, it's at final 10, the 2 groups split off. Then I would say put it at like final 11 or final 8 or something. That way, if there is a quote unquote broken thing, or just affiliate it with a challenge that is not dependent on natural elements, right? Literally, any other challenge would have not ended in a tie.
But this is funny. This would have been the challenge. I would have bet that it would have ended on a tie. Like this, you know what I'm saying? Like I would have bet that this one would have ended on a tie.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is like that. I mean, and that's why what Carla and Owen did to me is so impressive, is because like who survives that? Like, I mean, it's certainly not me, right? And I think that's why it's unexpected.
Even after that, like they got out of the water after 3 hours in freezing cold temperatures, like stagnant, and then they were like standing there, and I'm like, could they not have gotten a stool or something? Like, I'm surprised they're not just atrophying at that point.
Yeah, just collapsing over. I had another thought, but it's now escaping my brain. So I'm gonna say, good job, Owen and Carla, until I can recover what was the thought that was in my brain.
I was gonna say, while you recover, what has replaced this challenge for me for the most scariest challenge was the one that we watched like in the DC know-it-alls, the net. The rope net thing.
Oh,
I am
the butthole.
Sorry. If you put us into 2 groups and we got to do this net thing, I'm not getting in that net. That net was so scary. You're in the net. You're trying to untwist it. It's twisting behind you. It's twisting in front of you. You're in mud. You're drowning in mud. No. I can't. Cross it off the
Okay,
list.
so
I'm not
maybe
doing
we
it.
found a new
Drowning in
Survivor
mud.
classic, a new
Let's
challenge
not do
that will
that
haunt
anymore.
future players of like, all right.
Discontinue the net mud rope
No.
thing. Don't do
Yeah.
that one.
Okay, so I remember what I was gonna say so quickly. So it was to the comment about like, oh, the reason why maybe the double win didn't work because there was also the other advantage. So two thoughts on that. First thought is, so what? Like Survivor is about luck. All right, fine. That's how the chips fall. That's how the shot in the dark falls. Like it is what it is. Okay, done. Second thought is, this is gonna sound so stupid, but
Oh,
I
please.
love the fact that they just hung it on a tree. The like choose your champion. It was just
Oh, it was
chilling.
so good.
It was
so
definitely
good.
not on the ground. It was just there. And the fact that so many people walked past it, I don't know why, but that was like giving me life.
They literally did not see the forest for the trees. That's what's brilliant
Exactly.
about it, right? That like, and does that not speak to, in my opinion, the modern era and why the producers should not feel the need to complicate things so immensely? Is because like these people are so in their own heads. They walked
That's
by a
true.
tree with a piece of paper hanging on it at least half a dozen times, if not quintuply more. In reality, the players will create their own paranoia. You know, you just put something simple out there and they will nibble on it. The more you confound it, I think the more they're actually going to be able to hyper focus on it, and you lose out on moments like this.
That's very true.
The Cody with literally his arm on the tree and then eventually being like, oh, there's an advantage. And then very much like, you know, holding on to the tree like it's his best friend in the whole wide world. Oh, that whole thing was just so beautiful. It was really fun. It was really fun.
I would
had fun.
believe though that Cody was hugging a tree though. They're like, oh, that
Yeah.
Cody, the tree hugger, he just loves
You know,
hugging trees.
he
All right, well,
loves
I'm going back to
nature.
camp. This is all
It's
completely
fine.
normal.
Yeah, just leave him there.
Also, remember when Gabler's like, let me use this tactic from Vietnam?
Dude, I don't know what Gabler is on, but
I love it. I love it. I adore it so
Oh,
much. He's like,
gosh.
all right,
He's
everybody.
like, no, he's
I
like
can't.
LARPing that he's in the military.
No,
Okay?
LARPing, Liana.
LARP,
LARPing.
sorry,
LARP.
yes, LARPing. Yeah. I forgot that's what it was. Like,
I can't with
okay.
Gabler. I truly can't. He's confounded me since the beginning. I'm sorry. I get it. He's everybody's like he's there like everybody loves the one person who is kind of disruptive, like, you know, when everybody loved Natalie back in the day. I can't with Gabler. He's too much for me. He would be the person in the jungle where I'm like, it's either him or me. Oh, it's me. Okay, that's fine. Like, because I gotta go. We
cannot coexist in this space. That energy, no, not happening.
Yeah. He seems like a chill person and a cool dude, but there's, you know how there's types of people you could never live with. You could never. That's how he is one of those people for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and they 100% would put you on a tribe with him because they would absolutely know that.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like, it would be another Ellie situation of like, okay, we got to put these two together because we know what's going to happen.
Yes.
Okay, speaking of that, I don't know. This is the transition that worked in my mind. But so Sammy, Mike, you mentioned this of Sammy just being like, no, I didn't vote for you. Okay, yeah, I lied to you. That whole segment just also very enjoyable, very entertaining. Like, so what's the right move there? Like, maybe this isn't the show to talk about like how you should do strategy, but like when you're caught like that, obviously Sammy screwed up, but like, how did Sammy screw up? You know, is it like, should you commit to the lie? Should you just come straight out and say, yeah, I lied, or I mean, yeah, I voted for you? Like, how do you handle that situation in a way that does like damage control the best?
Well, the thing is if you are lying, you have to come up with a good cover story. Sammy did not in that, right? It was like a 5 to 2 to 1 vote, essentially a 5 to 3 vote. They knew, everyone knew, they flipped Gabler over. Sammy can't be like, oh, it must have been Gabler, because the entire onus of the plan was to swing Gabler over. Like, you can't be like, oh, you can't tell me to my face that my own swing vote did not go along with this very plan that we executed correctly.
Yeah, exactly. I think you just have to own up right then and there, because saying no and then 10 minutes later being like, nah, it was me. It's just even worse. I thought the funniest part of that is because like, if so it was in night vision. So, you know, for them, it's like dark. Jesse's face when
yeah, he was like, He's like, bitch.
I don't right, and I don't think anybody else could have saw that his face since it was like pitch dark. But us seeing it in the camera, I was done. I was so done.
I think I
Yeah.
might. I'm trying to see if I still have the picture because
Oh my
I
gosh,
think I have it. Yeah, actually,
it was
I
so
do.
good. I was like, oh no,
It was like
like
the
they all
best.
know you're lying.
Exactly. It was like the best reaction shot to
Yes,
anything.
the best night camera action shot I ever saw.
Yeah, night vision
Reaction.
shot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
Mhm.
mean, yeah.
this is the
Oh, yeah.
picture.
Mm,
Really, really,
I
really?
don't know about that.
it's a really incredible reaction. I love
Ugh.
it, and that's the thing as well. Like that's the thing is I feel like while some may critique this cast as being a bit more mild mannered or like not as out there as previous casts, like I still think there's a messiness that exists. I still think there's like an
Mhm.
antipathy of like these people don't necessarily like each other. Where again, Jesse to Sammy's face is like, you gonna give me that bullshit? Really? And I love that moment for Sammy though too, because this whole Sammy storyline is so interesting. And I think
Mm,
unfortunately so representative of his age, right? We've all been
Yes, very that.
19. We all
mhm.
think we can get away with a lot of stuff. And then the
Mhm.
one time it doesn't work, we're like, okay, well, the Emperor truly has no clothes. And here I was strutting around naked for 19 years of my life. And that's what happened with Sammy here, where he's like, I'll play this off. I'll just try to tell Carla that it wasn't me. Okay, no. No, no, no. No, I really have no out here. Okay, it was me. I'm sorry, mom. I'm really sorry.
And then he was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna play your idol." Like, just say they told me it was you. I had no, they left me out of the vote. I would have not voted for you if they had told me, but I didn't know. Like that's all you can say at that point. But being like, "Oh, yeah, I voted for you, but I thought you were gonna survive because the idol and everything. So I didn't mean to vote you out. I just voted
Mhm.
for you." Like it's like that doesn't, Sammy, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's chaotic, like what
It was
lawful
good.
chaotic or like I don't know what
Yeah.
quadrant he
No,
falls in, but
I'd
it's
say he's
definitely
like
chaotic.
chaotic. He's definitely
Mm.
chaotic, maybe neutral, I would
Neutral.
say, because like he did stuff.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing: like, yes, that was major egg on his face, but the next day he gets super, in my opinion, lucky here, right? Where he told me he had no idea that that Cassidy had known about Carla's idol, so he just casually floats out like, oh yeah, maybe an idol thing got floated out here by Cassidy. He happens to like take two from the Nether, take two from the other part of the Nether, and put them together, and somehow makes four because he somehow convinces Carla to target her closest ally here.
Mhm.
Oh my god, that whole thing was like so shocking slash amazing slash WTF is going on because first of all, the fact that Sammy threw Cassidy under the bus to Carla. Okay, then he manages obviously to pull all these things together. Fantastic. But then the fact that Cassidy comes up to Carla afterwards and is like, yeah, Sammy's definitely going to try to drive a wedge between us,
Yes.
makes Cassidy look so sus, but it's not even
That was
true. And I'm just like, if I was Carla, I would be like, dude, Cassidy is on to me. She definitely did that. I would 100% believe that because, of course, like the fact even that Cassidy mentioned that, of course, that's what Sammy is going to do, that he's going to throw, me under the bus to you, which, of course, I mean, he did, right? Like, just the whole
right.
situation was absolutely so interesting to
Very
see
funny.
because no one could have predicted that. Wild.
Yeah, Mari,
Mm.
as a Carla lover, what were your
Mhm.
thoughts about again? A move she luckily does not end up needing to make by the end of the episode, but sort of the turn that she takes of, all right, I guess I'm turning on my closest ally.
I think I feel like it was a good decision. I just think she didn't need to be the person at the forefront of it. You know what I'm saying? Like realizing that you can cut your closest ally is always a good thing. I think in social strategy shows like this, because there's always a point where only one person wins,
Mhm.
and having a close ally is
Not on the challenge.
It's true. But only one person can win. You need to have a close ally to get you through the game. And when you do have a close ally, it normally means you're gonna get further. But knowing when to cut that ally if it's deemed necessary is always a good trait to have. Now, do you need to be the one like calling for them to get out? No. So I think that I thought it was very funny that Jesse recognized that. Jesse being like, wait, if Carla wants to get Cassidy out, then I don't need to get her out, you know? So I liked where Carla was going, and I think it made sense. And it's kind of like the Sarah Lucina of it all. Like if you know that somebody has an advantage that then you can use, that if it behooves you that they leave for you to have that advantage, that makes sense. And I think that's what she was probably thinking. But I just think she kind of overplayed her hand.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea that, and this is another bit of like tell rather than show, but Carla floats out here like, oh, Cassie and I have been playing the same game. It's the whole Heather and Erica thing, right? That they had that discussion at
Right.
one point of like, oh, if we get
Yeah.
to the end, will they recognize our moves? Which is
Yeah.
so interesting because I feel like whenever that happens from an edit perspective, it's almost always like one person is the big character and one person is definitely, I think, by comparison, the smaller character. And so it's tough for
Mhm.
us to like digest that information, knowing, no, from our perspective, like, no, if it was a Cassidy Carla final two, Carla would win hands down. We don't know what actually would happen in that case. But I just find that point so interesting in that it feels like every time it's brought up, it is so different from the actual narrative that's being presented to us.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tough because, obviously there's a whole story that's being told that we see that's not being seen by the people on the island, obviously because it's edited, and then there's also a lot that's going on the island that we don't see. And so trying
Mhm.
to like make sense of all of that and putting it all together to be like, okay, this is the cohesive narrative that we as I guess the audience care the most about, but still knowing there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes. I think it's really tough because like again, what we said at the very beginning of the show and what we said, Mike, consistently throughout our coverage of the season, that is that the relationships are not really being hammered out in the best way that I think you and I would want them to be covered. And so I think that also plays into, of course, the Carla and Cassidy relationship, because we're being told maybe that they're super close, but also apparently Jesse
True.
and Carla are also very close, right? Which we saw that one episode that never showed up again. But maybe that's the
Yeah.
reason why the idols aren't being used. I don't know. So I think that's just missing in terms of the storytelling.
Well,
Great point.
let's continue on the Sammy train here, and let's get into our predictions for Sammy. Before that, Mari, your thoughts on Sammy here, our consummate teenager playing Survivor this season.
He was very fun. He was a very fun character. Like you guys said, chaotic neutral. Him like kind of overplaying the middle, playing the middle, like bouncing back and forth. I thought he put like a spark in the cast that I really really enjoyed, that youthful energy, if you will. So I'm definitely gonna miss his energy around camp. I think he was willing to make those big moves, and just it just caught up with him.
Yeah.
So I'm sad to see
Mhm.
him go. But honestly, man, this shot in the dark thing, get rid of it too. If like,
I
if
mean,
there's
listen, we barely had it this season, so it was basically not here.
it makes no, I'm just done with it. Like we've never seen it work either. If at any point these producers really wanted to rig something, this would have been their way to do it.
Okay, I'm happy that you brought this up because shot in the dark, yay or nay? Like let's vote. Let's
Big
say
nay.
we're the people that are deciding if it's going to continue on. Yay or nay, do we continue? And if you say yes, you can say this is how I would change the advantage, because I've seen people say like,
Mm,
"Oh, change the percentage," or like something else, to make it actually impactful. Because obviously we've seen it fail so many times, which makes it feel like such a
yes.
non-entity, right? And I feel like you
Yeah.
want advantages to feel like it matters.
Yeah, so that to
Yeah.
that point, like, yeah, I usually say, okay, obviously the worst advantage are the ones that are detrimental to the game, but like the second worst ones are the ones that don't have an impact on the game, right?
Yeah.
Like the medallion of powers of it all.
Yeah.
I would say yes, though, because I need to see the shot in the dark, and if it works in a format where tribes are larger than six. I think that's one of
Mm.
the bigger issues is like
Mm,
I feel like in a lot of situations, I think 42 was largely an object, sort of like the acceptance to this rule in many ways. But like usually when you're on a tribe of six, right, your vote feels like it matters, and so
mhm.
that's why
Yeah.
it's tougher to be like I'm playing my shot in the dark because you're
Yeah.
essentially throwing your vote at this 1 in 6 chance. So I think one way I would change is like if we do a Survivor season that goes back to 2 tribes of 9 or 2 tribes of 10 and bringing it
Mm,
in there, does it pop up more? just to see like, okay, would people use it more if they feel like, okay, it's an open and shut vote, much like Sammy did here, right? He's like, okay, the vote might as well be open and shut against me pretty much. Let me go play this shot in the dark. I wonder if we'll see it more in that capacity, and then we can figure out, okay, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because so far, like, it has whiffed so many times and has been like so inconsequential to the vote, which again is both bad for good TV, but also good in not like really throwing a vote out the window and forcing everyone to have to scramble on the fly.
Yeah, I would say nay. I mean, if you are going to keep it, maybe make it a 1 in 3 shot, just make it easier. But I don't know, because I feel like if we keep it, we're going to get that one episode where they big it up, and you know that they're going to big it up, and then you're going to be like, oh God, this is the episode. Like they're going to telegraph it. Yeah, like which will be even worse, because it's like, oh, so you just even worse, just screwed this up, because I at least would want to be surprised. But now, since I know you never pay attention to the shot in the dark, and now you're paying attention to it, now I feel like I'm gonna feel some type of way. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't like it. Maybe it's because I've never seen it work. Maybe it's because it feels so inconsequential. Like Mike said, they don't really use it when the numbers are so close together. By the time people do use it, it's because they know it's on them, and then it fails, so we know the result of the vote, and we if it fails, we know that person's going home. So it's just kind of like, it does nothing for me.
Mm-hmm. So I think my answer is that obviously in this format it doesn't work, especially because you now again have season 43 that has seen 41 and most of 42, and they say this doesn't matter, who cares, like we're not even going to bother even thinking or talking about this until you get to this very specific situation. So clearly it doesn't work, so cut it or do something different. Like I guess my answer is both, if I can like
shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like either do make it more impactful, change it in some way, or just get rid of it, because clearly it doesn't matter and it's just an annoying thing to keep in the back of your mind, like a bee that just won't go away.
I actually forgot about it till Sammy said it. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think what the producers like about it is that advantages, while anyone can go out and find them, they are so individualized. Like not everybody has an idol, not everybody has an extra vote. The thing that's interesting about the Shot in the Dark is that everyone starts with it, right? So like at any point in time, someone can play it. I think it's an interesting experiment to like, okay, you automatically start with your advantage in your pocket, in a manner of speaking. And so again, I like that idea. I think it needs retooling. I don't think they need to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but I don't think they need to stop the baby and say, keep on taking a bath. Take the baby out of the bath and have the baby move on.
Yeah, it's old now.
What if instead of a Shot in the Dark, what if they combine like the two of the worst like twists of this era? Combine Shot in the Dark with Do or Die. It's like at the start of the season, you each get a chance that if you want to, you can play your Do or Die.
Oh my God.
Where you can have a 1 out of 3 shot
of either, if you think you are in such dire straits, then you can use this Do or Die.
Well, all the people that came out right being like, oh, it was the same box both times, like the contestants would figure that out, right? And they call major riggage by like, okay, because there was like a season of the challenge, I remember, where like there was a draw. Yeah, the skulls are like the draw, and like they failed. They knew what the right one was. Like, you know, someone would do that with the Do or Die boxes, and Alliance would tip each other off about it.
Could you imagine that?
All right. Well, Liana, did you do or die with Sammy preseason? Sammy, obviously a very unique character. 19, having the most unique profession, a pet cremator. Definitely pinged on a lot of radars preseason. How did you think that would translate to the game?
Okay, first of all, apologies to Sammy. I was not optimistic about your chances, but I'm very happy that you were on our television screens. I enjoyed you as a character. I will now continue. I had you going pre-jury. I said at just 19 years old, Sammy lights up the television screen, which I assume is a pet cremator joke, and was the eagerest beaverist on the Baka tribe, ready to play, which sadly scared the other members of his tribe. This overplaying led to him being voted out before jury.
Ooh.
Sammy kept asking to go to Shipwheel Island, but his tribe refused, nervous about what he might do. So no journey for Sammy, but he didn't stop believing. I think this is one of the last ones I wrote because this is a disaster.
Well, this is the last one alphabetically, so you're just like one more, Liana, just one more.
Sammy had the most intense confessionals and kept scooting closer to the camera while he was speaking. Think Brittany from BB24.
Oh, interesting.
Like he would just like get closer and closer.
No, I
I
think
said
it was
that
further and further away, right? I remember the shot of him like leaning up against the tree.
I said that his ally was Gabler. I said that his enemy was the cameraman. Because I guess he was like getting closer and closer and wouldn't sit in his frame. And then I said confessionals 20. And then I wrote very close range confessionals. And I don't know what that means.
I think you
then
meant close range, like extreme close up. Like
yes. Okay. 20 very close range confessionals. Okay. That makes sense. And then I have a gap. And then I say overplayed like what's his face from 41 as a young kid. And I don't know what that means.
JD.
I think you're referring to JD.
Possibly, but I don't know if I was supposed to include that, but I read it anyway because it was part of the whole like paragraph. So
thank you, Ron Burgundy. Just reading whatever's on
the teleprompter.
Yep.
So I did have higher aspirations for the young Sammy. I did have him making the jury. I said that he would make an immediate bond with Gabler, becoming an early physical asset for Baka and building the quote strength above all mantra. Gets blindsided at the Gabler vote, spoiler alert for Gabler's entry, which causes him to seek greener pastures once the merge hits. Unfortunately, his self-described cocky demeanor does not wear well on the new faces. He will be, let's go back to Eagerest Beaverist. I said he'll be one of the squirreliest members of this season. He'll consistently not be able to rest. He'll use the 19-year-old energy he has to constantly work, hunt, talk, and make deals. Eventually, it gets to a point where not even his closest allies can rely on him anymore. His reaction upon getting voted off is the most explosive of the season, though less in a mad way and more of a Jamie from Guatemala, blindsided, nice kind of way. His closest ally was Gabler. His enemy was Janine. He had 32 confessionals, and a randomly generated phrase I came up with Sammy was, a glittering gem is not enough.
Okay.
Like beautiful rhinestones on a Vegas showgirl.
I mean, honestly, that's not that bad.
That was very close. That was very close to what happened.
I honestly, Sammy did not surprise me that much from what I thought he was. Like, I thought he was pretty well set up from a preseason perspective, and that I think he was certainly athletic enough, and I think had enough of a mind, especially having watched, someone like JD or other young people compete on this season, that he knew he had to like step back a bit, but still have fun with it. I think he like irresistibly got his hands dirty in the game, and then he'd eventually get caught out for it, and everyone would be like, we don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, that reflected that. I think with the like everybody getting fed up, like kind of came true.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally so Carla, Sammy confirmed this to me, like, the reason why it was a unanimous vote was because, again, Carla was supposed to vote Cassidy, but she was so mad at Sammy declaring that he play his shot in the dark that she voted for him.
Oh my gosh.
Dang. Yeah. Oh, do I get to pick right or something like that?
You can pick if you want to.
Oh, sorry. Mike really hit the he really hit the nail on the head there. I know.
Before we get into our game for this week, I have a few miscellaneous items I'd like to share with you.
Okay.
No.
All right. Do we want to start with like something game-like, or do you want to start with something that has nothing to do with games?
Mari, what do you think?
Let's do game light.
Okay. So, there is an auction going on for Grassroots Soccer, which is Ethan Zahn's, of course, infamous charity, and for the 2022 World AIDS Day Gala, which you can actually, I believe it's the bidding has closed at. Oh no, it ends in 2 days. I'm looking at the website right now. Ethan has put up 2 items for auction. I think we could do a little bit of a mini game and do the Price is Rourke here. See if you all can guess what the starting bid at least was for this. So I'll read the first one here. Survivor Africa memorabilia capsule. This is your chance to get your hands on a money can't buy package of Survivor Africa merchandise donated by Ethan Zahn himself. This includes a very rare Shaba Soccer t-shirt signed by the entire Survivor Africa cast,
Whoa.
the Moto Maji rare Reebok buff on original cardboard, and a one-of-the-kind Maasai beaded bracelet gifted to Ethan in the final immunity challenge of Survivor Africa, as well as a Survivor
Oh,
Africa cast photo. So all of that
damn.
is in this
That's
capsule. So, Mari, how much do you think is the current bid for this capsule?
like I feel like a lot of Survivor fans would love this. But then I'm trying to feel like who's actually bidding though. Um so I will go with $20,000.
$20,000. Okay,
Yes.
Liana.
Oh my
I was gonna go
god,
low.
Better.
I was gonna go lower, but I don't know.
$20,000. I mean, I know
don't know.
inflation
I'm
is
not
high and
rich.
corporate greed is at an all. I can't. Okay, my thought was like $1,000. So I'm gonna go with that and just hope. But now I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to blow your minds. Liana was closer. So,
Okay.
Okay,
it
cool.
was $350 is the current bid.
Wait, actually,
Yeah.
dude, but I thought the Ethan Zahn bracelet would push it over the edge. But
See,
okay,
that's what I'm
Mari,
saying. I
we
was
can get in on this game.
I know we can pull our
We
money.
can bid.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I know how much I feel like Survivor fans. I guess I played a what if a rich Survivor fan wanted it.
Yeah.
Well, let's check out the
350.
other
Oh wow,
thing
that's
here,
a
which
steal.
is it's less personified for Ethan, but a
Okay.
bit more personified for Survivor. Survivor Legends Zoom with Jeff Probst, Boston Rob, Parvati, Tyson, and Ethan. Jeff Probst and legendary Survivor winners Boston Rob Mariano, Parvati Shallow, Ethan Zahn, and Tyson Apostle will come together for this 30-minute live Zoom call for up to 10 guests. With a combined 17 of seasons of Survivor under their belts, that's kind of insulting to Jeff. He's been there the whole time. This tribe of all-stars will share behind-the-scenes stories, answer Survivor questions, show memorabilia, and most importantly, never vote you out. This prize will be accompanied with old-school Survivor merchandise, limited edition vintage Survivor buffs, rare CBS Survivor game photos, and more. So this is a 10 guest 30-minute Zoom call with Boston Rob, Parvati, Tyson, Ethan, and apparently Jeff Probst. Liana, how much is this going for at the moment?
Well, that's wild because like I personally would probably put more value on like the live element of it all than the actual like memorabilia, but that could just be like my weird feeling. So I think, you know what? $1,000. Let's do it.
$20,000.
Yeah, $20,000. No, $1,000. My final answer.
Mari, what's your guess?
I am literally the exact opposite. I would much rather have the memorabilia because it'll be there forever as opposed to talking to 4 people for 30 minutes. So I'm going to go with $150, Mike.
Liana is closer to the money again. This
Dang it!
Boom.
$3,500, 10 times the worth of the memorabilia capsule.
See?
Ridiculous.
Damn,
That's a lot
that's
of-
expensive.
Yeah, that's a
To
lot.
talk to people? Are we serious?
How many cameos do you think you could buy cumulatively between the 4 with $3,500?
Not to talk to people. Yeah, exactly. Well, the Jeff Probst one, that's like, I mean, that's pretty valuable. Do you think you're gonna get Jeff or Survivor guy?
Well, the question is, like, how much do you think Jeff is going to talk on that call? Right?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
like, it
that's a
really
good
is billed as
question.
these 4 Survivor winners. Like, do you think Jeff's just going to want to hang out with them, or do you think he's going to like be tribal council Jeff and like moderate a conversation?
Yeah, I think that like, especially when you've been doing it for so many years, I feel like that switch just turns on. You kind of can't help but be in, moderating analogy Jeff mode.
That would be funny if it's just a tribal council.
Yeah.
Buying a Zoom call is kind of like trying to sign for a car when they won't offer you a contract. You're gonna get that kind of stuff.
Boston Rob, I was thinking of you today. I was thinking of you guys. I don't know why he said that. Shouldn't he typically be thinking of them?
I don't know. No one can explain what Jeff is doing.
I'm glad you brought that up,
Oh
Liana.
no.
Okay.
Oh
So It has been discovered that, listen, the holiday season is upon us. Thanksgiving is officially done. We can deck the halls. And boy, have the folks over on the CBS TV Instagram page decked the halls in a certain way. They have produced a series of reels around Jeff Probst and other CBS stars. I'd like to play them for you since they're only 30 seconds. And we can give our thoughts here.
Oh no.
jeez.
Oh
So
no.
here is the first one.
Breaking news. Somebody brought key lime pie. Gail? Except Wilmer, whoever brought the cranberry sauce, killed it. I mean, I'm just used to white rice, so what do I know? But nice Coke. You see the size? So whoever brought the fruitcake, that's the best I've ever had. Happy holidays.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
No. That's not.
So to describe this for audio only people. So Jeff Probst is at his own CBS holiday party on the island, and he's invited several CBS stars, which are cardboard cutouts of
Yikes.
Gail King, Wilmer Valderrama, and he's talking to them. But I just need to play it. I need to play it again, and this is the first of a few. But I have to because the way that Jeff is talking about it, you think like, okay, Jeff puts on his food voice when he's describing like chicken wings, hamburgers. I think he's stuck in that mode because listen to the way he talks about key lime pie and fruitcake. Here we go. Let's do it one more time. The captain says, Jeff Probst decided to have dinner at his island holiday party. We didn't know where he got the key lime pie. We didn't send him a key lime pie.
Breaking news. Somebody brought key lime pie. Gail? Except Wilmer, whoever brought the cranberry sauce, killed it. I mean, I'm just used to white rice, so what do I know? But nice Coke. You see the size? So whoever brought the fruitcake, it's the best I've ever had. Happy holidays.
What? What? Like the fonts? Like, yay.
It's the best I ever had.
Key lime pie. This makes no sense. One, when did they film this? Did they film this when he was still out on the island, or did they send him back out there?
No, this is not on the Leon. This is not on location.
What did they just set him up in a CBS studio and they were like, "Look, it kind of looks like Survivor. Let's go for it."
They're
Here,
not
have a bunch
shipping
of cutouts and look
10
like a
cardboard
crazy
cutouts.
man.
Yeah, they're not doing that. No, he lives in LA. They're like, come by the Radford lot and film this thing. And Jeff's like, just so you know, I'm a little baked right now. Is that okay? Like, oh no, we love it. Start talking about, fine. What do we got here? Fruitcake. Ooh, Deji, golly gosh, we got fruitcake.
Oh my god.
It's like everything about how Jeff is behaving, plus why cardboard cutouts, plus why key lime pie? What does that have to do with anything? Jeff brought. It's not like he's holding key lime pie and we're wondering where it came from. It makes no sense for many different reasons.
They even said like, "There's no key lime pie." Like, we didn't send him a key lime pie.
So this man is not only imagining the people he's with, he's also manifesting the key lime pie. He's just like, this is like truly like maybe they can the camera back outside the letterbox view and he's actually in like a mental hospital. Like this is a psychiatric study in this man.
Guys, I'm Jeff Probst. Like, why is he moving like that?
Weird.
I don't know. Well, I think it's because we're used to usually seeing him sitting at tribal council. So he's like, I can move. I don't know what I do with my hand.
No, but like even at challenges, you know, I guess maybe he's got like something going on. So he's like running around and he's like, focus. He's just like, yeah, guys, we're having a great time.
That was so weird.
That's
well, don't worry. Here's the second one.
Oh.
Jeff Probst got presents for everyone.
No,
at
not
the holiday party. It went okay.
Hey, LL, so give everybody a little something from around the way. Just between us, it's not just bamboo, it's an immunity idol. Oh, happy holidays. Well, hope you like my Secret Santa gift. It's a fire starter kit. They're very tough to find this time of year. Yeah.
What's that?
Huh? Sure, I'll ask LL if he wants it. All right.
Who? I don't know these. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the guy who played MacGyver. I'm not sure who that long-haired white guy was. I know obviously LL Cool J was the other one
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, NCIS, right?
Jeff needs help.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wasn't Bamboo that he gave LL Cool J.
That
right?
was
Like,
the
What
biggest joint I've
was
seen
that?
in my life. Like, he rolled that himself, and he's like, "I'm giving this to you, cardboard cutout of LL Cool J. Enjoy." Like,
it's a lie on
what?
top of a lie. Like they couldn't even find a piece of
Weird.
bamboo in the studios. So they're just like, take this pen. It looked like the pen that they used for voting.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
But it's like, no, it's
No.
bamboo. Like, no, you can change the script if there is a script.
This is
That
like
was
Jeff
weird.
hallucinating, like that other people exist. You know, like that's the vibe I'm
Yes.
getting from the whole situation.
Do you think this is how Jeff plans out a Survivor season? He makes cardboard cutouts of like the people before they get out on the island and tries to simulate
Yes.
doing tribal council.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why he puts people in boxes, because his cardboard cutout version of them would say this. So therefore the human version should also say this or do this. So yeah, it makes sense.
It's definitely like, oh, he's been stuck out on that island for way too long.
Yeah, this is like a Wilson Castaway situation where he started talking to the volleyball, you know, and like
Wilson
it's just-
Valderrama.
Yeah, exactly.
Wilson
Exactly what
Valderrama,
I'm
volleyball.
saying.
Well, don't
It's
worry.
the same.
There's one more.
No.
Why?
Not a third one.
We asked Jeff Probst to sing some carols at his CBS holiday party. This is what he sent us.
All right, are you ready? Here we go. Jingle bells, jingle. Oh, we sound good. Happy holidays to you. Tony, happy holidays to you. Happy holidays. You're all here. You're all my friends, and you are my only friends that I have. I have no other friends.
Well,
Not you are my friends and you are my only friend.
I can't. I
Okay,
cannot.
we need to help this man. This is like a cry of desperation and a cry for help, okay? We may not see it that way, but that's what it is, okay, people? We need to get together. We need to start a GoFundMe. We need to help this man because this is not normal.
Bounty Jeff was back too.
Yeah.
You
Not only
are my
friends.
You're my only friends.
Oh
Sure.
God,
We're all
no!
singing
I can't.
together.
I cannot. I could have gone without seeing those.
Yeah, my
Mike.
life would have been fine without this.
No. This is a gift. This is a
Yeah,
gift, I think, that we all got to watch a new mode of Jeff. We thought Survivor Guy was like, that was first gear. This is like third gear.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
like a new level of delirium because you're my friends. You're my only friends.
You're my only friends. That's the part that killed me the most. I'm like, oh, Jeff, that's so sad.
No, and
How
then
the mighty have
Ozzy
fallen.
calls him and he's like, only. Oh, sorry, I misheard you. I thought.
Oh,
you were
yeah, I
referring
thought
to
you said
something
only
else. All right, so check that out on CBS.
No,
TV
don't. Please
Instagram
don't.
page if
Don't.
you
Do
want
not
to.
do that.
Don't.
It'll be as delicious as fruitcake. Whoever brought it, pretty clutch.
Oh my god.
All right, let's get into our game here. So I explicitly advertised this on Twitter because this is a game for the people, in a manner of speaking. This played right into our hands when the lovely Owen finally makes the metaphor that we have been talking about for years on Survivor, ever since Spencer and Cass, finally come true, right? He explicitly talks on Survivor about Charlie Brown and Lucy and the football. But Owen embellished it to talk about how all the freaking Peanuts kids are against me, which is an incredible phrase in and of itself. And of course, for me, how could I not only post those 3 lovely CBS TV Jeff Instagram reels, but also come up with a game where I survey the audience to have them say, in your opinion, which Peanuts characters match up to the Survivor 43 cast members. Mari, what is your knowledge of the Peanuts coming into this exercise?
I did like to read Peanuts comics
Pedix.
on Sunday. I know Peanuts.
Oh.
I I am there for all of the Charlie Brown Christmases, all of the Charlie Brown Halloweens. That's about it. It's been a minute, but we'll see how this goes. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Liana, you
Yeah.
stayed up on the pedix?
Yeah, well, a little bit differently. No, I would say my experience is very similar to Mari. I think like it's something that, especially like you got the Sunday comics, like you kind of grew up with that, and then
Exactly.
having the Charlie Brown like Christmas special and the Halloween special and all of that. I think it's something that is definitely just sort of part of like what we grew up with. So I'm familiar
Yeah.
from that regard. Also, very excited to see the Survivor interpretation of these characters.
Are the peanuts
Same.
chuggy?
Huh? What does that
No,
mean?
I don't think they're chuggy because they're kind of like boomery / silent generation-y, but then maybe they're now cool again. But they're not like millennial. Like millennials are not like, oh my god, yeah, peanuts. Like I feel like Calvin and Hobbes could be like chuggy. Like people
Oh,
would be
yeah.
like, oh, that's chuggy. But that it's like it's past that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I suppose it's like asking, is the Parthenon chuggy? You know, like it's a relic
Yeah.
of the past. It represents a different time.
Exactly. It's the Colosseum chuggy. Like it's just not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the peanuts are cool, nor were they ever cool. Like the entire Otis and the impetus is that it's surrounding this uncool child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. When your like main protagonist is like a loser, then like it's probably not the best. But
No, maybe that does make it cool, right? Because it's like, you know, it did what a lot of cartoons could on that day, like embrace depression, embrace self-deprecation in a way that I feel like Gen Z really likes to do nowadays.
so
Yeah.
maybe it's actually really cool. Maybe Peanuts are like,
Maybe it
you
came
know,
back
the
around.
Gen Z cartoon.
I think they really just hit it out of the park when they just made the specials, because now you can't get rid of those. Like those are always on. You might not have watched the show every week or still read comics because what's a newspaper anymore, but like definitely the specials work.
Oh yeah, I watched so much Peanuts growing up. I mean, listen, it's no surprise. I could literally just say, "Hi, my name is Mike Bloom," and they're like, "You watch the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show every week for 17 years," and I'd be like, "Guilty as charged." I love that little bald kid and his bully friends.
Who doesn't love the bullies?
Who doesn't love the bullies? But we'll see who gets compared to the bullies and
boy.
beyond. So
Oh geez.
I'm going to start with an unorthodox question because usually we have a format of doing this. I'm going to break format because the first question I asked is, which Survivor 43 cast member is most like Charlie Brown? Hey, surprise, surprise. The answer was Owen. What I want you each to do is instead give me the percentage of people you think said it was Owen instead. So we're going for more of like not family feud, but more so guess the number of people on the survey that said the answer.
Okay.
And we do this from in a number system. I'll get into the actual rules later on, but I didn't want to throw out this question. I figured this might be an easier way to do it. Liana, give me a percentage of respondents who said that Owen is the Charlie Brown.
I mean, it's got to be 69.
Okay, nice. Very
Nice.
actually unholy for a very kind of sanctified children's programming. Mari, what about you? Percentage of respondents who said that Owen was most like Charlie Brown.
We've already demonstrated how bad I am at this, but it's okay. We'll continue.
$22,000.
Yes. That's so funny because when I did the survey and I read it, I didn't think Owen was the Charlie Brown, but it kind of makes sense.
Oh, who did you say?
Because I don't think he's the main character, sadly. I was thinking kind of like Cody, because Cody is like, to me, the main character who just does not do much because his best friend does it all, aka Snoopy, aka Jesse for me. But let's go with 43%, Mike.
Okay, 43%. Well, Mari, unfortunately, you went in the other direction once more. So the percentage of people who said Owen was Charlie Brown, recency bias, 82.2%.
Whoa!
I mean, it was a little bit of a gimme. Second place by a
Mhm.
far margin is Janine, who ended up with 10.9%. I still kind of think Janine gets the Charlie Brown above Owen. I know Owen compared himself to Charlie Brown, but like Janine did get her idol stolen and thought it got voted out with Dwight and then got taken by
Man.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Y'all don't like Charlie Brown and it shows.
I don't respect Charlie Brown in
Yeah.
the shows.
So the way that now this game is actually going to work
Okay.
is that I'm going to say, which Survivor 43 character is most like blank. You are each going to put up a person. You cannot put up the same person. However, whatever percentage of the vote that they got is going to translate to points. So, for example, if you say Owen and Owen's 69%, you get 69 points. Whoever
nice.
has the most points by the end of this is going to end up winning it all. So let's start here with, you mentioned the pooch himself, not to be confused with Big Brother 24 castmate Mari. In your opinion, or I guess, who do you think the audience said is most like Snoopy from Survivor 43?
Me and the audience clearly were not on the same wavelength here, so I feel like I'm going to be but I'm still just going to go with Jesse, because I still think Jesse is the person who is running the show. I think he's still like very nice. I think everything runs through him. I think he is the Snoopy.
All right, Liana, who is the Snoopy?
Yeah, that's tough. I probably would have said Jesse too, but I'm gonna go with Carla here.
Oh,
Okay, Carla. Interesting. I'm trying to look for if
Oh
anyone
no,
said
That did not
Carla.
bode well.
Okay, Liana, one person said Carla.
Yes.
And Mari, 9.4% said Jesse, but you all missed out on quite a considerable top number here. The winner with 34.4% of the vote is Cody. Cody is the Snoopy. I don't know if they feel like he has big dog energy, but he got the Snoopy vote. Next up with 14.1% was Sammy, and then it was a tie between Ryan and Gabler.
Okay, first of all, y'all have not read the Peanuts Wiki Snoopy entry, and it shows.
Clearly.
Okay,
And it
so
shows.
I don't
all
know.
those yes,
Yeah.
shame on you all.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all are doing over here. Yeah, Mari, maybe we prepared too much. Maybe
I know.
the problem. We should have just gone on vibes. We're like reading everything.
I don't know. Could it be that
Right.
like Snoopy tends to go off on his own adventures, right? And Cody's the one doing backflips off of rocks in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yes.
I could see that interpretation. I think
Mhm.
maybe like he comes across as independent, even though I don't necessarily think he is.
Yeah.
But like he comes across that way. And I will say, I did take a BuzzFeed quiz of which Peanuts character are you, and I did get
Oh.
Snoopy. So me and Cody in the same boat, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to take that.
All right, let's move on here. All right, so Liana, which Survivor 43 player is most like the football holder herself, Lucy?
This is hard.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Jesse.
Okay.
Based on just the
Yay.
whole of like someone who's, kind of controlling the show. And based on the previous answer as well, I think maybe more people put Jesse as Lucy.
What do you think, Mari?
Oh, this is rough. Okay, I gotta try and get into the audience. Oh, I should have asked you for a list of their names too, because I'm very bad.
I mean, you
with
can look up the
Survivor names.
cast if you want to.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's
you
not-
want a
it's-
list of the like Peanuts characters? You want a
No, the
list of-
Survivor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you look up the Survivor cast, it's not gonna be a spoiler of this person relates to this Peanuts character.
Yes. Okay, so who is the quote unquote evil Lucy? That's her main shtick here. I think it's hard because I like all of these characters, and I don't think maybe I would maybe Ellie. Maybe go with Ellie because she was the most like, I think she was the one that caught up more flack. I think I'd go with Ellie. Let's go with that. Sure. Why not?
So you both made good choices. Jesse
Ooh.
was number 3 with 12.4% of the vote. Ellie was number 2 with 24% of the vote. Maybe it's the whole psychiatrist thing, right? Help
that's
wanted,
right.
Oh,
5
psychiatry,
cents.
yeah. Mhm.
But the biggin yet again missed with 39.5% of the vote is Carla.
What?
I mean, to be fair,
I thought about it,
when Owen mentioned Lucy, it does cut to Carla.
Oh, I thought she
Oh,
was
yeah.
Peppermint Patty.
I thought so too. She was Peppermint Patty, which is just kind of too on the nose for me.
Oh yeah, you're right. That it was Peppermint Patty. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll get into it. Listen, spoiler
Right.
alert, she's on the list. But
Oh,
I
no.
don't know. Maybe it's the brunette hair. Maybe it's her feeling like again she has a bit of that control and she's able to toy with people a bit more. But yeah, Carlucci is a thing right now. Let's stay with the Van Pelt family tree here, and not of the kite eating variety. Again, my stupid peanuts knowledge is showing here.
Yeah.
Mari, which Survivor 43 player is most like Linus?
Linus. Oh, one of my favorite Peanuts characters. Uh, I think you gotta go with Sammy. I just like that young energy, that kind of like still sucking his thumb, holding his blanket. I'll go with Sammy.
All right, the baby of the group, Liana. Who is
Mhm.
most like Linus?
I don't know. This is so tough because like I have an emotional attachment to Linus. Like
Me
I just
too.
really like Linus. So I'm trying to again what Mari said is like put yourself in the audience of like, okay, what's the first thing
Mhm.
you think when you think about Linus? You think about like, oh, the security blanket, the kind of like immaturity of it all. I think I'm gonna go with oh gosh, I don't I have no idea. Um, I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say Ryan.
Ryan. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so Mari, for the first time this game, you did get the top answer of
Ooh.
Sammy. Sammy had 28.1% of the vote. Ryan came in fourth with
Oh, okay.
11% of the
I'll
vote.
take it.
Second place was Jesse. I think he was the person that they cut to when they mentioned Linus. I mean, like, he's a political science person. Linus is very philosophical, right? I guess it is connected in that way. And
Mhm.
then third place with 12.5%, Dwight.
I was between Dwight and
Oh,
Ryan. Okay. All right. Fine.
Oh, and also
that's a good
Gatler's
one.
up there as well for whatever reason.
What?
Well, he did put palm frond blankets onto people. Maybe that's the connecting with the security blanket.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's like I'm gonna cover
Sure.
you in a blanket with
Mhm.
ants.
All right, Liana, which Survivor 43 player is most like Sally?
Okay, this is absolutely because of the hair. I'm going Cassidy.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
Mari.
I could be totally
Um,
wrong.
I know. I'll go Janine here because why not?
You got the top two answers on the board, but yeah, it wasn't close. Janine was
Yes.
8.7% of the vote. Cassidy was 48.8% of the vote.
Yes.
Yeah,
Blonde
oh,
hair. Let's go.
and I
Let's
think
go.
that, with Sally, right, you mess with her, you get yelled at,
Yes.
much like in The Great Pumpkin, and we all know the narrative right now with Cassidy. If you write her name down or you target her, you end up going home. So yeah, this is one of the most open and shut ones.
Yeah.
Third place was a tie between Ellie and Noelle.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. No, but I think yeah. I mean, obviously the joke is like the blonde hair, but outside of that, the fact that if you are going up against Cassidy, you will go home. I feel like
Yeah.
Sally is just so invulnerable, right?
All
Mhm.
right, next up, Mari. Which
Yes.
Survivor 43 player is most like Schroeder, aka quote the stupid kid playing the piano, which may have been my favorite description of all these characters.
Hmm.
Like, why is Owen so angry at Schroeder in particular? What did Schroeder do to Owen?
Yeah.
Schroeder. Okay. The silent artistic genius who also plays baseball. Which
As
I'm
they
getting
all
too
do.
deep into it. I know. Who does the audience think Schroeder is? I mean, I don't know. Like I don't. Oh, this is so bad. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say James. I'm gonna say James here. I don't know if that's the top, but Schroeder is such a mystery. He's so mysterious. And the who I think would have been the top for him has already been taken.
No,
So
I mean multiple. I'll
multiple.
give
That's
you
true.
a mulligan. Yeah, characters can apply. So if you want to pick a previous name that's stated, you can.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Because I think he's more. I think it for me it would be like more like Jesse, but I don't think Jesse would come to top of the line for the audience. But I don't think James would either. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go with Jesse.
Okay, I'm locking in Jesse once more. Liana, what about you?
Okay. This is solely based on Owen saying the stupid kid playing the piano. I don't know why, but Gabler is the first name that pops into my head. So I'm going Gabler.
This piece is called LERP.
Yeah.
Ba-
Yeah.
and playing it with palm frond leaves.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Gabler had 12.5%
Okay.
of the vote, which was third.
Ah.
Jesse had 18% of the vote, which was second.
Damn,
First
Mari.
place with 25% of the vote, Ryan.
What?
Huh?
Womp womp womp.
Wah, wah,
Right.
wah, 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 wah.
I'm not sure. Maybe it is sort of like the strong silent type, right? Just kind of
Yeah,
being
maybe.
here doing his own thing.
Oh, that's true. I can see that. I
Carla
guess.
was Lucy? No,
Carla was Lucy.
Carla
Carla
was
was Lucy?
Lucy.
Okay, because I know that like he's her love interest, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but so were Sally and Linus, and I don't think Cassidy and Sammy
Yeah, I guess
certainly
that's
did
true.
not see eye to eye.
No.
That's funny.
Okay, interesting.
That's
But
that's
Sammy,
a hard one.
Sammy got some votes. Dwight got some votes. James
Mm.
did get some votes as well. He got about half as many as Jesse did. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was a pretty even spread. Let's go back to the ladies here. Liana with the aforementioned peppermint patty.
I'm going
Hold on.
Ellie.
Really?
Okay.
I don't
I'm going
know.
Carla.
I just feel like the straightforwardness, it gives me
that's true.
peppermint patty vibes. I don't know why.
All right, who are you going with, Mari?
I'm going with Carla because I think it is too on the nose, but also I think it's just Peppermint Patty is like the most well-rounded character in Peanuts, and I feel like Carla is the most well-rounded contestant on Survivor this season because she's been busting out those immunities, man, and it's just amazing. She's really good socially and all that, so that's what I'm gonna go with.
Well, Mari, your Carla Love has taken you to the lead here, as yes, she was the number one answer with 39.1% of the vote. Ellie got a tenth of that at 3.9%. Second place, 28.9. Noelle.
Yeah.
Was right. She's the sporty girl, right? That's Peppermint Patty, even though she wears sandals for some reason. Third place was Cassidy with 9.4%. But yeah, it was pretty much between Noelle and Carla.
Yeah, Noelle's a good pick there too, yeah.
All right, let's move on here, and this might be another slam dunk. Mari, which Survivor 43 player is most like Pigpen?
Gabler.
Okay.
Go away.
And Liana.
Oh my god, I thought Cody and Ryan were like my top two choices. I'm gonna go with Cody.
Okay, Cody. So that is going to be just doing some quick maths. So you got the top two here. Liana ends up sneaking out with the correct answer here. Cody, 43%, because he just looks a little dirty at all times.
He really does.
Mari, you did get the second place answer with Gabler with 28.9%. Third place was Ryan with 9.4%. Fourth place was Sammy with 8.6%.
Okay. I feel it.
All right. Well, we got one side of the dynamic duo. Let's get the other one. Liana, which Survivor 43 player is most like Marcy?
Okay, this is tough. So what I remember about Marcy is like she's like really smart, right? That's like her thing.
I mean, she does have glasses.
Yeah, which is the smart, the mark of a very smart person. So I want to go Carla here, but we've seen Carla so many times, but also like I kind of don't really care, and I want to go Carla again. Like super smart, adaptable, love that for her. I'm going Carla.
All right, Mari, what do you have to say?
I'm gonna go with Ellie here because I think Ellie, again, very smart. That kind of got her in trouble. That's who I would, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so Mari, you got the tied for the top pick. Ellie and Janine, much like Peppermint Patty and
Ah.
Marcy, were thick as
I was
thieves, and
gonna
they
go with
split the
Janine,
top
too.
vote at 18.3%. Third place was Cassidy with 16.7%. And then tied for fourth were Carla and Noelle at
Nah.
9.5%. So even though Carla wears those glasses, I don't think they perceive her to be as bookish. Though I do feel like, I don't know, who's most likely to call Peppermint Patty sir?
um, I don't know.
I think Ellie has kind of the sir tone, right? Especially when talking with Gabler.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's funny.
All right. So here's where we are going into the final question. If we're giving, a point for every percentage that you got, I started you off in the negatives with how far you were off from the 0-1 just to make things fun. Right
Dang.
now, Liana,
That's not
you
fair.
have 131. Mari, you have 135. So,
Oh, geez.
Oh my
super
god,
duper
Mari,
close.
the fact that I started with such a head start and have fumbled the bag so hard, like you win regardless.
Not fair. Shenanigans.
Yeah, this is like Mari's beloved Baltimore Ravens. We'll save a fourth quarter falling apart in the
please.
cards
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh.
Why would
All
you
right.
say that?
Well, let's see. Speaking of birds, Mari, to finish
Mhm.
things off,
Oh,
which
God.
Survivor 43 player is most like Woodstock?
I don't even know. I'm currently reading the characteristics of Woodstock.
Let me read.
Little
He
yellow
just
bird.
annoys Snoopy, right? Like,
Talks and scratches.
oh my gosh. I don't even know. Okay. Oh no. I don't know. Okay. All right. Think this through. Woodstock is a bird. All he does is mess with Snoopy. He's Snoopy's sidekick. I'm gonna go with Gabler. It's kind of like Woodstock is like inconsequential. So it's kind of like
Hey.
he's just there. He's just poking people.
So Gabler, much like he loves his furry face friend, so does Woodstock. Liana, this is your last chance. What do you have to say?
Oh my god.
This is based in no rationale, no thought, no nothing. Only gut. I saw Woodstock. I thought Cody. And that's all my body told me. So that's what I'm going with. And if it costs me the win, then so be it.
Top winner of which Survivor 43 player is most like Woodstock? Sammy.
What?
With 12.7% of the vote. Surprising because I don't believe, you know what's weird? Sammy has never been alive for a Woodstock. For not for
None of
Woodstock
them.
99. He's younger than any Woodstock, literally.
That's so funny.
Second place, Cody.
No!
11.9%.
Wait. Comes down to the math.
No.
The maths.
Third place, Gabler. 11%. Congratulations, Mari.
Yes!
Slim margin, 3 points separated you two, but you ended up winning.
Damn.
Fourth place, perhaps my favorite. I could give you a million guesses, and I don't think you'd be able to figure out who is in fourth place for Woodstock.
No.
Gio.
Dwight?
Mariah.
Lindsay.
Mariah.
Really?
The yellow.
Oh, the yellow.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Just the visual indicator. So, yeah.
All right.
Congratulations to Mari. This was a very closely fought battle, but you prevailed here.
Yeah.
And you won by a very tight margin.
Yeah. Deserved.
Oh, that was fun.
Deserved.
I love it.
Thank you to everybody who filled out this ridiculous survey. It was something I don't think I'd ever experienced in my lifetime, but I'm very happy that I did.
It's like one of those things, like, because Mike, you and I have talked about like, oh, we've been doing the show for so many years, like blah blah blah, and then you kind of look back and you're like, what the hell did we do? Why did we say like what Survivor characters are Muppets? Like, and we'll look back on this one, we'll be like, what were we thinking?
We're very much like Jeff Probst wandering around in a room full of cardboard cutouts. Right? We're like, we're giving it our all, but we're looking back, being like, what were we on at that point?
But what
It's
a journey.
What
See,
a journey.
that's why those Instagram stories are the same as us, Mike. It's a mess, but we're here for it.
Incredibly.
Exactly.
So, Mari, we're going to put things onto you, especially as the winner of our game. Of course, we like to throw it over to our guests on the B&B at the end of each and every week to highlight a charity or cause that is close to them, something that they would like to highlight for people experiencing the world, obviously, outside the little bubble that is the B&B. Anything you'd like to draw attention to this week?
Yes, please go donate if you can to the Access Reproductive Care Southeast Abortion Fund. It is an abortion fund that helps women in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, and the southeast, like southern part of the U.S. to like logistically set up healthcare and abortion access to women and girls down there. So you can go to www.arc-southeast.org/ uh wait, I did it wrong. abortionfunds.org/fund/access-reproductive-care-southeast/ specifically to donate to that abortion fund. So I have a lot of family in the South, and I want to make sure that everybody has access to abortion care and reproductive health. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And we'll put the link in the show notes as well.
I'll put the link in the bio.
all of the links.
That's our form of the lower third popping up at the bottom,
Yes.
Right.
indicating what's going on. Mari, this was such a great time. Always happy
Yeah.
to have you aboard on the B&B, and apologies to tormenting you with all these shenanigans, though luckily it's not as torturous as lying underneath a steel grate for 3 hours while the tide came in and out. I always know you have a lot going on when it comes to talking on this
God.
microphone. What's happening with you?
Yes. So of course you can always go and follow me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. Because no matter what I'm doing, I'll post it there. But of course, every week, me and Matt Scott bring you the highlights of the week in wrestling over on the Wrestling RHAP podcast. So you can go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed in order to subscribe there. Of course, every Tuesday, me and Sarah Kennedy are bringing True Crime Tuesdays over on the Crime Scene podcast. So you can go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed in order to subscribe there. Please go subscribe if you haven't. This past week, we dropped an episode talking about Eat the Rich on Netflix. It's a docuseries about documentary about the GameStop, the whole GameStop debacle.
Short, that stuff,
So,
yeah.
yes, exactly. We tried to do maths, me, Sarah, and Jason Reed. It was very bad, but definitely go listen to it. Coming up this week, we'll be talking about, as long as everything goes well, it's the holidays, so it's hard to schedule stuff, but we will be talking about Killer Sally with hopeful guest Omer Zahir. So if you love Survivor, we're gonna have a Survivor on, so go check it out. Again, go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed to subscribe. You can also catch me over on post show recaps, where we'll be doing the year in a review for Atlanta. We did Atlanta coverage this year, both season 3 and season 4 of Atlanta on post show recaps. So if you want to listen to that, you can go to postshowrecaps.com/Atlanta, and then you can check out our year in review. So yes, that's it for right now. Lots of stuff coming up. So just make sure you go and follow me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much.
A slate of podcasts sweeter than a key lime pie. Yeah. Liana, what's in your cooker?
Trying to stay a little bit more sober than Jeff in those Instagram stories, but no, living for those. And obviously the Masked Singer is an agent of chaos in the same way that Jeff is talking to cardboard cutouts. So it's over though, apparently. So Puya and I have watched the episodes. We're recording tomorrow, so we're gonna hopefully get that podcast out to cover the end of Masked Singer. And then Lego Masters took a week off, so we're gonna be back in the next couple weeks, and we're setting up an interview with the winners. Obviously, we don't know who they are, but we'll find out. So all of that is going to be coming on the RHAP Up feed. So look out for that. And again, as I said, follow me on Twitter at RHAP.
Of course, you can follow me at a Mike Bloom typing. You check out because of the Thanksgiving holiday. I spoke with Noelle a bit later, got to speak with her on Monday. So I did 2 Survivor interviews in the past 7 days. They were both really great. Noelle had some really great insight. Turns out, like, despite being betrayed by Jesse and Cody so many times, she told me she would literally jump off a cliff for Jesse at the point she was voted out. So again, this dude's making things happen behind the scenes. But that was a really great talk with her, especially what the disability community and outside have been responding to all the great stuff she's been doing, especially that individual effort she put forward in that final reward challenge. And then talking with Sammy was really awesome as well. He opened up a lot about all the relationships that he had. We got to see a lot as to like some of the connections that we saw come out of nowhere and didn't see and saw long term in terms of Gabler. A really great talk about, you know, a Gabe that had been built up so well and then kind of combusted almost in a manner of speaking instantly. It was a really interesting trajectory for Sammy, and he has nothing but kind words to say about what was a very formative journey at a very formative age for this guy. So feel free to check all that out. Of course, more exit press to come with that. Still doing my amazing race stuff as we are doing a finale week at this point. Got to cover the penultimate episode and talk with the 4th place team, who I think offered some really fun stuff outside of, I think, maybe what their edits suggested, but really excited to cover the finale as well with Rob and Jess. Usual stuff going on post-show recaps as well with Heroes. And the final thing I will say is, you know, we're getting to that time of the season, right? The penultimate week is coming up where I take my brief vacation outside of the B&B to stop in with Rob Cesternino on the Feedback show. So unfortunately, I will be in absentia. And so Liana is tenting her fingers a la Sammy in a not close-up confessional. Tell us, oh wise one, who will be taking my stead on the B&B next week?
Yes. It's going to be an episode full of love as the double date night returns. Puya and I, accompanied by Jenny and Phil, will be getting together to talk about everything from the penultimate episode and, you know, put our own little flair on everything. So goodbye, Mike. We're going to have a great time.
Wow, you didn't have to say it that forceful. Goodbye, Mike.
Bye, Mike. Get out of here. We're busy.
Exactly.
No, of
You're
course we're going to
you're
miss
flashing
you.
the lights on and off. You're putting the
Yeah.
chairs up like, get last call. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
Well.
No, of course. I mean, yeah, always it's so fun to hear Mike and Rob together. So I think it's something that all of us appreciate listening to. So we'll have to make do, but we're still gonna have a good time next week.
No, I always love listening to that. That is chaos incarnate with just
Yeah.
the tangents, especially that you guys go off on, and that Jenny and Phil have not talked about Survivor with anyone this entire season. And so they probably have a lot of things to say about this cast, as who knows what's going to happen, as Liana sort of alluded to, I think, at the beginning of this episode. While I think there are certainly people that are lined up positionally to do well, I think we know a lot about everybody at this point that I think I could see anybody going next episode, and that opens the field up. So we'll see if more nonsense is in order for next week. It will certainly be in supply in the B&B. Of course, if you have any games that you'd like to suggest for the B&B, we are closed in on the last couple of weeks, but of course, we're welcome to have them. RHAPBNB@gmail.com, or use hashtag RHAPBNB on social media. Special thanks to Scott St. Pierre for editing everything behind the scenes, Wolf from America for his fantastic theme song, and thank you all, not only for listening, but for heeding my beck and call to compare Survivor 43 castmates to Peanuts characters. This is why this community is the absolute best, and I'm happy that you're listening, hopefully enjoying, and getting to check out the last couple of weeks of coverage of Survivor 43 before we take our long winter's nap. Liana will be back next week with Puya, Jenny, and Phil covering the penultimate episode of Survivor 43. Until next time, we'll check you out at your next stay.